will kill you today.
God, please change my husband.
If you ever try to leave me, I will kill you. Those were the words Mr. Sampson whispered to his wife Chioma one night, his hand wrapped around her throat. She believed he was just trying to scare her. She was wrong. 3 years later, Chioma died on her kitchen floor, 28 years old, killed by the man who promised to love her forever. Her husband walked free. His family's connections made sure of that. But Chioma's death was not the end of her story. It was a beginning. Let me tell you her story. Not because it is easy to hear, but because it must be told. Because somewhere right now, another woman is making the same choice Chioma made. And maybe, just maybe, this story will save her life. Chioma was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that made people turn their heads when she walked past. Smooth, dark skin that glowed like polished mahogany. Eyes that sparkled with intelligence and warmth. A smile that could light up the darkest room. She lived in Lekki, Lagos. Not the struggling side. The wealthy side. Where houses had tall gates and security guards. Where Range Rovers sat in driveways like trophies. Where success was measured by the size of your compound and the brands you wore. Chioma had everything the world said mattered. A successful husband, a beautiful home, expensive clothes, jewelry that caught the light. But she did not have peace. She did not have safety. She did not have love. What she had was Mr. Sampson. When they first met at a corporate event 5 years ago, Sampson was perfect, charming, successful, attentive. He owned a logistics company. He drove a Mercedes. He wore designer suits and spoke with confidence that commanded respect. "You are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen," he told her on their first date, holding her hand across the table at an expensive restaurant in Victoria Island. Chioma blushed. She was a marketing executive, independent and strong. But something about the way he looked at her made her feel special. Chosen, valued. The courtship was a dream. Flowers delivered to her office. Weekend trips to Abuja. Surprise gifts. He introduced her to his wealthy parents who lived in a mansion in Ikoyi. His father was a retired senator. His mother ran several businesses. They had connections everywhere. Power, influence, money. "Our son has finally found a good woman," his mother said, embracing Chioma warmly. They married within a year. A lavish wedding in Eco Hotel. 500 guests. A reception that cost more than most people earned in 5 years. Chioma wore a dress imported from Dubai. Sampson looked like a prince in his white agbada, embroidered with gold thread. Everyone said they were the perfect couple. Everyone was wrong. The first time it happened was 3 months after the wedding. They had argued about something small. Chioma could not even remember what it was. Money? Plans for the weekend? Something meaningless. But Sampson's face changed. The charming smile vanished. His eyes went cold. Hard. Dangerous. "What did you just say to me?" he asked quietly. Too quietly. "I just said that maybe we could." The slap came so fast she did not see it coming. Her head snapped to the side. Pain exploded across her cheek. Stars danced in her vision. She stood there, shocked, hand on her burning face, staring at the man she had married. "Don't ever talk back to me," he said, his voice still terrifyingly calm. Then he walked out of the room. Chioma stood frozen. This could not be real. This could not be her husband. This could not be her life. But it was. When Sampson returned an hour later, he was crying, actually crying, on his knees, holding her legs, begging, "Baby, I am so sorry. I don't know what came over me. Work has been so stressful. I would never hurt you. You know I love you. Please forgive me. It will never happen again. I swear on my life, it will never happen again." He bought her a diamond bracelet the next day, took her to her favorite restaurant, made love to her gently that night, whispering apologies into her skin. Chioma forgave him. She told herself it was a one-time thing. Stress, pressure, everyone makes mistakes. But it happened again, and again, and again. The pattern became familiar, terrifyingly familiar. First came the tension, She would feel it building like a storm gathering on the horizon. His jaw would tighten. His responses would become short and sharp. The air in the house would change, becoming heavy and suffocating. Then came the explosion. A slap, a shove. Once, he pushed her so hard she fell and hit her head on the marble floor. Another time, he grabbed her throat and squeezed until she could not breathe, until the world started going dark, until he finally let go and she collapsed gasping. Then came the apology. Tears, gifts, promises. I love you. I am sorry. It will never happen again. You just make me so angry sometimes. If you did not provoke me, I would not react this way. I am trying to be better. Please do not leave me. I cannot live without you. And Chioma stayed. She stayed because she loved him. Or at least, she loved the man he pretended to be during the good days. She stayed because she was ashamed. How could she, educated and successful, admit she was being abused? What would people say? She stayed because his family had power. His father knew judges, police commissioners, politicians. Where would she run that they could not find her? She stayed because he isolated her. Slowly, carefully, he cut her off from friends. They are jealous of us. They want to destroy our marriage. From family. Your mother never liked me. She is poisoning your mind. From co-workers. Why do you need to go out with them? Am I not enough for you? She stayed because she hoped he would change. Because during the good periods, sometimes lasting weeks, he was wonderful, loving, kind, and she would think, see, he is getting better. My love is healing him. She stayed because leaving felt more dangerous than staying. If you ever try to leave me, he whispered once, his hand wrapped around her throat, I will kill you, and no one will stop me. Do you understand? She understood. But Chioma had one person who never stopped seeing, never stopped knowing, never stopped caring. Ngozi. Ngozi was Chioma's best friend since university. A lawyer, sharp-minded, observant, loyal. Ngozi noticed when Chioma stopped answering calls as frequently. She noticed when Chioma started wearing long sleeves even in Lagos heat. She noticed when Chioma's laughter became forced and her smiles no longer reached her eyes. She noticed a bruise on Chioma's wrist covered badly by a gold bangle. One afternoon, Ngozi showed up at Chioma's house unannounced. Samson was at work. The gate security knew Ngozi and let her in. Chioma opened the door wearing sunglasses. Inside the house. At 2 p.m. Take them off, Ngozi said quietly. I have a headache. The light. Chioma, take them off. Slowly, Chioma removed the sunglasses. The black eye was spectacular. Purple, green, yellow. Swollen, almost shut. Ngozi's hand started shaking. How long? It is not what you think. How long has he been doing this? Chioma's face crumbled. She started crying. Years of held-back tears. Years of pretending. Years of dying slowly inside a beautiful prison. Since the 3rd month, she whispered. It has been going on since the 3rd month of our marriage. Ngozi held her friend while she sobbed. Then she said the words Chioma needed to hear. You need to leave. I cannot. You do not understand. His family. I do not care about his family. I care about you. Chioma, he is going to kill you. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But one day, he will hit you too hard or choke you too long and you will die. Is that what you want? He said he loves me. Love does not leave bruises. Love does not choke. Love does not terrorize. What he is doing is not love. It is control. It is violence. It is evil. Chioma shook her head. I can change him. If I am better, if I do not make him angry. Ngozi grabbed her friend's shoulders. Listen to me. You cannot change him. His violence is not your fault. Nothing you do or do not do causes this. The problem is not you. The problem is him. And the only way you survive is to leave. Where would I go? To your mother. To my house. To a shelter. Anywhere but here. He will find me. Then we get a restraining order. Chioma laughed bitterly. A restraining order? Against the son of a retired senator? Ngozi, you are a lawyer. You know how this works. His father knows every judge in Lagos, every police commissioner, every person that matters. A piece of paper will not protect me. It will only make him angrier. Ngozi knew her friend was right. She had seen it too many times in court. Powerful men who beat their wives and walk free. Women who reported abuse and were told to go home and be a better wife. Cases that disappeared because someone made a phone call. But she also knew that staying was not an option. Then we leave Lagos, Ngozi said. We go to Abuja, to Port Harcourt, somewhere his family's influence is weaker. And my job, my life. Your life is worthless if you are dead. Chioma wiped her tears. I need to think about it. Do not think too long. Please, Chioma. Promise me you will leave. Promise me you will not let him kill you. Chioma did not promise, because she still believed she could fix it. She still believed love would conquer. She still believed the man she married was still somewhere inside the monster he had become. She was wrong. The weeks passed. The cycle continued. Abuse, apology, honeymoon period, tension building, abuse again. Chioma's spirit broke a little more each time. Ngozi called every day, begged her friend to leave, offered her a place to stay, offered to help her start over. But Chioma stayed. Until the night everything ended. It was a Friday. Samson came home late, drunk, angry about something that happened at work. A deal that fell through. A client who disrespected him. Money lost. Chioma was in the kitchen preparing his dinner. She heard him slam the door, heard his heavy footsteps, felt the familiar dread settling in her stomach. "Where is my food?" he demanded, his words slurred. "I am preparing it now. It will be ready in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I have been working all day, and you cannot even have my food ready. I am sorry. I did not know what time. You are useless. Completely useless. What do you even do all day?" Chioma stayed silent. She had learned that responding only made things worse, but her silence enraged him further. "I am talking to you." He grabbed her arm and spun her around. "When I speak, you answer." "I am sorry," she said quickly. "I was just..." The first punch hit her in the stomach. She doubled over, gasping. "You think you are too good to answer me?" Another punch, this one to her ribs. "Please," she wheezed. "Please stop." But something was different this time. There was a wildness in his eyes she had never seen before. The alcohol, the anger, the years of violence that had never been punished. It had all built up into something unstoppable. He grabbed her throat with both hands and slammed her against the kitchen wall. Her head cracked against the tile. She tried to scream, but no sound came. Tried to breathe, but could not. The world started fading, going dark, going distant. She looked into his eyes and saw nothing. No love, no humanity, no recognition that he was killing his wife. Just rage. Her hands clawed at his fingers, but he was too strong. Her legs kicked but found no purchase. Her lungs burned. Her vision narrowed to a small point of light. And then nothing. Samson let go. Chioma's body slid down the wall and crumpled on the kitchen floor. He stood there, breathing hard, staring at her motionless form. "Get up," he said. She did not move. I said, "Get up." He nudged her with his foot. Nothing. Panic cut through his drunken haze. He knelt down, checked for a pulse. Nothing. No. No, no, no. "Chioma, baby, wake up, wake up." But she would never wake up again. Chioma was dead, 28 years old, brilliant, beautiful, full of potential, dead on her kitchen floor, killed by the man who swore to love and protect her. Samson called his father. His father called his lawyers. His lawyers called the police. By the time the police arrived, the story was already prepared. A terrible accident. She fell and hit her head. My son tried to save her, but it was too late. Such a tragedy. The police took statements, took photographs, took notes, but no arrest was made. The coroner's report was mysteriously vague. Blunt force trauma. Possible accident. The case was investigated briefly, and then quietly closed. Insufficient evidence to prove criminal intent, they said. Samson walked free. He attended her funeral in black designer clothes. He cried publicly. He played the grieving husband role perfectly. People consoled him. So sorry for your loss. She was so young. What a tragedy. They did not know, but Ngozi knew. Ngozi had seen the bruises, heard Chioma's confessions, begged her to leave, and now her best friend was dead. Ngozi stood at the funeral watching Samson play his role, watching his powerful parents console him, watching justice die along with Chioma. She felt rage, pure, burning rage. But rage alone would not bring Chioma back. That night, Ngozi sat in her apartment, surrounded by Chioma's photos. Photos from their university days. Photos of Chioma laughing, bright-eyed, full of life. Photos of the woman her friend used to be before she married a monster. And Ngozi made a decision. If the system would not give Chioma justice, then Chioma's death would not be meaningless. It would be a warning. It would be a catalyst. It would save others. Ngozi started speaking publicly about domestic violence. She wrote articles. She appeared on radio programs. She used her platform as a lawyer to advocate for stronger protections for abused women. She started a foundation in Chioma's name, the Chioma Foundation, helping women walk away. She offered free legal services to women seeking to leave abusive marriages. She connected them with safe houses, with counselors, with support systems. She told Chioma's story, over and over, not with her name, but with the truth. A brilliant young woman in Lekki, educated, successful, trapped in an abusive marriage. She stayed because she loved him. She stayed because she was ashamed. She stayed because she hoped he would change. She stayed until he killed her, and his family's power let him walk free. The story spread. Women started reaching out. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Women who were living the same nightmare. Women who thought they were alone. Women who did not know there was a way out. One of them was Amah. Amah was a banker married to a wealthy oil executive who beat her regularly. She had a broken arm that had been blamed on a fall, bruises hidden under makeup, a spirit slowly dying. She heard Chioma's story on the radio. While driving home, she pulled over and cried, because it was her story too. That night, her husband came home drunk and angry. He raised his hand to hit her, and for the first time in 3 years, Amah raised her hand back, not to hit him, but to stop him. "No," she said, her voice trembling but clear. "Never again." "What did you say?" "I said no. I am leaving." He laughed. "You think you can leave me? Where will you go? Who will believe you? My family. I do not care about your family. I care about my life. And my life is worth more than this marriage." She had packed a bag earlier that day after hearing Chioma's story. She grabbed it and walked out. He did not follow. He was too shocked. Amah went to the Chioma Foundation. Ngozi helped her file for divorce, helped her get a restraining order, helped her find a safe place to stay. The divorce was brutal. His family tried to use their influence, but Ngozi had prepared well. She had documentation, evidence, witnesses, and she was not afraid. 6 months later, Amah was free, legally divorced, living in a small apartment, making less money but sleeping peacefully at night. "I am alive," she said to Ngozi at a foundation meeting. "Because Chioma died, I am alive. Her death saved me." And she was not the only one. Over the next few years, the Chioma Foundation helped hundreds of women leave abusive relationships. Some were wealthy like Chioma. Some were poor. Some were educated. Some were not. But they all had one thing in common. They chose life over marriage, safety over shame, freedom over fear. Ngozi continued her work. Every woman she saved was a small victory over the system that failed Chioma. Every woman who walked away was proof that Chioma's death was not in vain. Years later, Ngozi stood at Chioma's grave on the anniversary of her death. She placed fresh flowers on the stone. "I promised you I would not let you die for nothing," she whispered, "and I have kept that promise. Hundreds of women are alive today because of your story. They walked away because they learned from your tragedy. The wind rustled through the trees. A single bird sang. And Ngozi felt, for just a moment, that her friend was at peace. Because Chioma's death had become a warning that echoed through Lagos and beyond. Love should never hurt. Marriage should never trap you. And staying is not strength. Walking away is. Your life is worth more than any relationship. Your breath is more precious than any vow. Your future is more important than any promise. If you're being abused, you have 3 choices. Leave, leave, or leave. There is no fourth option. Because staying might cost you everything. And no love is worth your life. Chioma learned this too late. But you do not have to. Abuse never gets better on its own. Love does not hurt. If someone is harming you, walk away before it is too late. Your life has value. Your breath has purpose. And no relationship, no matter how much you have invested in it, is worth your death. Leave, survive, live. That is the only victory that matters. In memory of all the Chiomas, this story is dedicated to every woman who has died at the hands of an abusive partner, and to every woman who is reading this and recognizing herself in Chioma's story. Please leave. Please choose life. You deserve safety, peace, and love that does not leave bruises. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation like Chioma's? Or do you know someone who has? You don't have to share names. Just share your experience in the comments. This is a safe space. And if you left an abusive relationship and survived, drop a comment to encourage someone else who is still trapped. Your words might save a life today. If this story affected you, please like, share, and subscribe so we can reach more people with stories that matter.